Okay, so Yasha, we are now recording. Hello, everyone. It's me and Yasha again, talking about life and about Yasha's journey and challenges with Parkinson's. And Yasha, you just revealed something terrifying to me, that I'm in fact an old man. I
I
want
was,
to.
I was only reacting to the fact you said I'm not an old man, you know.
Yes. No, yeah.
So,
It was just I couldn't find the record button, so I realized I was getting a bit like when I was young, my grandma used to sort of ask me to operate anything technical, like it was a remote control or something. She'd call me in to do that kind of thing. Now I'm starting to do that with other people. So yes, so maybe that the cycle continues.
Martin, can I start with something unusual? 1 second.
Yes, let's start with something unusual.
I've got a Parkinson's problem.
Oh, my word.
My image is on the right-hand side this time. It's the first time in our 6 or 7 sessions that my image is on the right instead of the left. And that is troubling me. It's distressing me.
I can understand that. So,
and I don't know why. I mean, I have absolutely no idea why, but I don't seem to be able to see myself.
okay, so I've found, just as we speak, so this is the technological discovery going on, that you can move where you are on the screen. If you're on a computer, there's a little counter. Your mouse, you can move your pointer, and when it goes onto the image of the person, it turns into a hand.
Yes.
Now, if you click on that with the hand, you can reposition me to the left or right.
Which I've just done. Thank you.
Brilliant. So tell me, you said that's a Parkinson's thing, being disturbed by change, obviously happens to us all a little bit, but you finding it a bit more now, or?
No, I think it's today. I've had yesterday I had a very bad day. I don't think I could have done the interview yesterday. I just couldn't have, I couldn't say. Today it's better, but not good. I get very, very tired. I mean, the two elements are sort of fatigue. I feel as if I've been running, literally, physically, and tension. Things disturb me. I mean,
So
I get tired.
now that's an interesting thing. So I know you're very interested in Buddhism. I once talked to a man in Japan who'd done a great austerity. It's like days and days of doing like a couple of marathons. It's they do this near Kyoto, and then they do a thing when they fast, but they just stand. They just stand, and it's days and days of just fasting. And I asked him about this, and I said, "What did you discover?" And he said, and I thought he was going to say something really far out. I discovered a place beyond the body or something. But he said to me, "I discovered nothing is special." Wow, what does that mean? And it took me a while because there's a sort of bit of a language barrier. But what it was is he thought that because he'd been brought up in a monastery, he thought he was going to be able to meditate or do something. But after a few days without food, he was all over the place. He can barely remember what happened there.
He's a Buddhist.
Yes, but these are Shigendo, so it's kind of Buddhism mixed with Shinto. It's kind of. I myself have been surprised recently how my mind is affected by bodily things. And of course they are one. We tend to think of them separately. But if you get very tired, you can get quite emotional, and things can look quite bleak. Your body really affects your mind. So in your case, obviously there's some challenges going on, and you now have to deal with the emotions of it. As you say, you get a bit stressed over things, and
Well, the problem I find is that it becomes a vicious circle. I get foggy-headed. Therefore, that stresses me. The stress itself causes foggy-headedness. So I get into a cycle. It's a little bit physically as well. I have the same thing with physically. I find that I'm very, very tense. I mean, tense in the sense literally my fists closed. So I go into meditation. I don't know. I think I'm inventing a new type of meditation. And I try and relax my hand on my body. And sometimes I succeed. It's great. It's as if I separate myself from Parkinson's. It's as if Parkinson's is an illness or a pain on its own, which I need to isolate in order to separate myself from it. And
Wow.
that's what I meditate on. Now, it took me about the best part of 7 years to succeed in getting that. I managed, I think, a couple of days ago, 3-4 days ago, I actually did get myself to distance myself from the Parkinson's. I'm talking while I'm sleeping.
So yeah, but that's amazing, and it's a lot of training to get there. Is there a particular technique, or is it just you just have to let go?
No,
It's hard, you know. Is it describable?
I'm talking to you of my experience rather than of something that I achieved.
Yeah.
I don't feel it's something I managed to educate myself with yet. You see, the point is that every day there's something different. I mean, today, I'll be honest, I shouldn't have washed. It really, really fatigued me. And my head is not working as well as it might have done.
So,
but sorry, go on.
No, so that's really interesting you should say that. So a few things recently have made me realize that for me, one of the things I need to work on is compassion and empathy for others. So
if you get Parkinson's, you'll get plenty of compassion.
Yeah, you get compassion from others. Yeah. So for example, you're talking about that washing. Someone I really care about and I know very well, they have chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's really hard to get your mind into a state where, as you say, washing or having a shower is a tiring ordeal for someone.
Brushing your teeth is already there.
So that's a thoughtful and just sort of thoughtless things like that, when it's very easy to forget what's going on in other people's worlds. You know, when you've got your friend who's hard of hearing and you talk up for them for 2 minutes and then you forget about it. And it's the same with that kind of thing. So with the washing, you're thinking, like, this morning I'll get washed and get ready for this interview. But that was a big trial because you've got to control yourself and calm yourself and get through all that. Now you're sitting here a bit foggy-headed having done that. Yeah.
It's more than foggy-headed, unfortunately. I'm feeling very spaced out as well, so I'm not with it. I must tell you thoughts that are occurring to me now because my memory isn't working at the moment. I can't think ahead of what I want to say. I can only think of what I'm going to say.
Yeah, please do go ahead.
I'm very grateful to these interviews you and I are doing. It's something very unusual. Well, it's not unusual, but it's an special opportunity, let me say. They have become a part of my Parkinson's treatment of myself, of the way I look at Parkinson's, because they are the monitor I have. In fact, I can't write, so I can't keep a diary. I've been trying to do that because that is very important, but I'm not going to manage that. Yes. And therefore, a physical record, the way we have been recording, you and I now, is very, very useful in guiding me as to where I was and where I'm going.
Yes, well, thank you. I also think, I mean, a lot of people are valuing these videos, and obviously they see what's happening, and some people are suffering from Parkinson's who watch this. Some people know people who are suffering from Parkinson's, and it's useful because one of the things we're talking about here is what you're going through. didn't know before this what it's like. So maybe people will be able to understand a bit if they meet someone who's got this. A lot of people who watch, they've got great compassion for what's happening, and they can really, they think that poor Yasha has to keep talking to Martin. I can't imagine what that's like. No, but seriously, no, they have compassion for what's going on. Yeah, and you can see often their hearts reach out, so they, you've probably seen they suggest things and supplements and things you could do.
I must convey to these people, those who are curious from the point of view of, or have sympathy or compassion, that if I didn't have Parkinson's, I would probably be in exactly the same state of health and mind.
Intriguing.
It's Parkinson's has only added features. It hasn't added to my state of illness.
Intriguing.
But that's because I'm 82 years old.
Mm.
The compassion really should go to the 40 or 50 or 60-year-old that has got Parkinson's, who has got 20 years ahead of him, 25 years. I've got a short enough period ahead of me to look forward to the future. But if I had 20 years or 30 years to go with this state of mind, I think I would be much more desperate.
Yeah, so we're aiming for 108, are we? That's the lucky number. Is that the goal?
Well, the neurologist seems to think so. They keep on giving me, you've got another 15 years at least.
Brilliant. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Okay.
So one of the interesting things, you're talking about how you deal with this. So, in life, it's a bit up and down, and you get strange situations where a lesser version of what you're talking about, all of us have to do. So it's meditation time in the evening, and you're agitated, and you think, okay, well, the new challenge meditation wise tonight is to calm. I'm not going to be able to, or you have a day where you're very tired and your mind's not there, you've got to correct it.
Can I ask you something about meditation?
Yes, you certainly can.
I understand that there are many types of meditation, but essentially when you say meditation, you mean one single thing, the concentration for a specific period of time.
Yes.
And relaxation, total relaxation, whichever way.
So a relaxed state of pure focus, yes.
Relaxed state of pure focus. The point basically I'd like to make is that you cannot have any sort of meditation without breathing. And breathing is our only link with the world, with the universe. I mean, our body is linked with the universe. It is the breath.
Yes.
There isn't any other way. There isn't any other way we experience the universe.
Absolutely, and indeed, the oldest yogic texts, and it's in Buddhism as well, but it's very much in this Eastern tradition, is to say, don't try to control the mind directly. Control the breath and the body, and that'll control the mind. The mind can't do the mind.
That's interesting. You see, yeah. I was going to ask. That was my question. So if you are able to actually experience meditation by the shallowest possible breathing, shallow as possible, in other words, as near to nature as possible, as near to not forcing yourself to breathe in, but letting the breath come on its own.
Oh, interesting.
Don't you think that must be beneficial to the brain?
Yes, actually there are breaths like that in yoga, one called Bastrika, when you do breathe very quickly, but it's like big bellows in and out. But yes, I think it's intriguing to think, that you could have shallow breath could take you to a state. It's intriguing.
Well, I've gone into it. I've been doing this. I read somebody sent me a text, a guy who does the massage, who goes fascinated by Parkinson. He's charged me only half fee to be able to massage me because he's sure that my body has got a devil in it. It's called Parkinson, and he's got to catch this devil, but he knows where it is. Only the devil is managing to hide. Okay, he hides some of my organs.
Yes.
So he's massaging in order to get to those parts.
Well, if he does catch that devil, that'd be wonderful, wouldn't it?
It
As
wouldn't
long as
be
it didn't go into him, that was trouble.
absolutely. But I was saying, he sent me a text by saying, don't breathe. Let the breath come to you. It was an interesting way, And I mean, you should try it when we finish. Or we can try it now if you want, but maybe after we've gone through.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So now I'm sort of tuning into what he's saying. So most breathing techniques tend to be abdominal, and sometimes they're deeper than slower, because we associate with relaxation. But I have seen techniques where they're saying, listen, let go and just let it all take its natural place.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I have noticed is if I watch my body, there are some recovery states. So if I have a nap, or if it's in the morning and I'm sort of and the alarm hasn't gone off, and I've noticed that sometimes my body does go through cycles of different breaths on its own. And you probably heard it with the person sleeping next to you. Sometimes they do strange things. They breathe in and it stops.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Why you sit there sleep holding their breath? And or sometimes they do what you're talking about. There's you think, crikey, and then maybe it's they need the increased oxygen to recover or something. But the in breath is very natural, isn't it? I think it's sort of done and out. Oh, I think it's sort of the air pressure. I like it, yes, and that nourishing breath and imagining that healing and may help, that kind of thing. Yeah, I try to work with whatever's happening in life. Very sort of zen. So when you sleep, just sleep. So lie there, say, okay, everything's going to recover, everything's going to go. It's nice. But the matter you're doing, the devil that's in you, has he identified devils is this a negative? Is he being literal? Is this an energy?
No, he says that it's something physical. He says it's like a ball, something physical that is managing to actually move around in your body.
Yes.
I mean, it's obviously, it's very clearly in his imagination, but I like it because chasing after an imaginary ball that is loose on your body, loose in your body somewhere, is a very good massage.
That's very good. And here's an interesting thing. Some people are like, wow, this is very far out. But I'm not saying there isn't anything energetic going on here at all, because when we're at school, Yasha, they said the whole world is made of atoms, the whole of existence is made of atoms.
Yes.
Now we've discovered that's not true. Only a very, very small percentage of existence is made of atoms. It's just what stuff that we can see, and the rest of it, most of it, is made of what they call dark matter. So it's some form of energy that does have an effect on gravity, and it has gravitational weight itself, so it does pull things towards it. Most of existence is some kind of energy we can't sense.
Doesn't gravity link it to the Earth, or not necessarily?
Yeah, so there's interaction going on. It's just that we're only just being able to detect it, and so we're only just being able to detect most of existence. So
it's gravity. Gravity doesn't seem to fit in from my point of view.
Yeah, sort of. Isn't gravity
gravity limits it?
In space time, yes. But
That's very interesting.
I tell you what, this is great. So anyone who knows lots about dark matter, put a link to below so Yasha and I can find out more, so we can be more educated.
We're going into quantum physics again.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. One of my friends, he's writing a book, which is, if you take the metaphysical teachings and you take the quantum physics, where's the connection? It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. If you're watching this, then watch out for that. It's a famous author, and you'll see that. I think Martin said, Martin Gay. I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell about these next thing, but it's a big author's working on this at the moment. We'll make him come over to your house and talk about it when it's launched.
We'll invite him onto the interview.
We will, yes. And by then, let's see whether that your healer has managed to get find that energy, because it sounds like he's centering in on it. But what about
But
other
you,
things
but,
then?
sorry.
After you.
Well, I was thinking that it may sound morbid, but I must tell you that I've been thinking generally in death in more general terms and more or less on a daily basis, and many things that happen in a normal day, I link them to the fact that I will not be here soon. And from that point of view, it occurred to me that you're going to have an empty space next to you soon. Why not have guests that have been listening to this program for the next few programs after mine?
You said next. I thought you've got 15 years left. Hang on.
Yeah, in 15 years' time. I mean,
15 years. Okay. Yes.
15 years is not a lot, believe me.
Yes. Yeah. So contemplations like that is quite an intriguing thing. So they reappear now and again, don't they, in life? So
It's a different outlook on life when you're 83 years old to what it is when you're 53.
Yes, and it's an intriguing thing. Often future things don't seem like they're going to happen to us lots. So when I was at nursery school, I looked at the next school and I thought, whoa, they have to work all the time. But it didn't seem like it was really going to happen. Okay. And then you're there and it does. And you look at the next stage, you think, oh, leaving school and working, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And
no, I must agree with you.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. And so I'm 45 now.
You're 45.
There's a feel to 45 for me, a little bit like, do you remember when you got halfway through school holidays and you thought, oh, I've got to go back in 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
This is when most people have their midlife crisis, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. You should probably have a good one. Do it properly.
I must tell you that the most surprising thing to me at the age of reaching the age of 80, the most surprising thing is how I got there. I just couldn't believe it. How come I'm 80? Yesterday I was 55. You suddenly you're there suddenly. And I wish in one of our early interviews, you asked me what I'd like to convey, I think to the first one, what I'd like to convey to any listener who may be listening to after I've gone.
Mm.
And I really would like him to appreciate the fact that the time just goes. It isn't, I mean, it should go into talk about quantum physics. How time, well, in quantum physics, there is no time.
Yes, no, I hear, but yeah, let's really emphasize that point. So it's something all of us start to say as we get older. We start to do that thing where we say, where did the time go? Oh, and we get a bit surprised. When you used to say your date of birth, it seemed quite recent, and then,
when you're 80, you say, really, where did that time go?
Yeah. And so it's obviously so valuing the moment. And here's a lesson I've been learning, and it's intriguing what you're saying there, is valuing the moment for its inherent value. Sitting this moment between you and me, Yasha, there's a natural tendency for me to think in terms of purpose and achievement and everything. What if this is valuable just because we're here together? What if it doesn't have to be about achievement or about anything big and great? What if it's just valuable to sit with your grandchildren or sit with your cat or to hold the person you love? What if that's got its own value? And that's something I've been sort of learning a bit myself, because I'm very driven, very purpose direction. Yeah. So valuing the moment, because it zips past. Yes, I think that's a good lesson to convey.
I mean, the question is, how does that moment exist? How does it exist? Does it exist as it was, or does it exist as it will be, or does it exist as you'll think about it afterwards? I mean, when you just said to me, well, how do you value this moment? I thought to myself, that's a very good practical question, which I frequently ask: how do I practice my spirituality?
Mm.
Here's an opportunity to do that in practice. How do I experience the spiritual communication I have with Martin being here at this moment? And that is the answer to that specifically would be just to be absolutely aware of it, to be conscious of the fact that here I am with Martin. Nothing else is of consequence. But then that takes me to other opportunities when I was with you. Did I make myself aware then? Had I made myself as aware of those opportunities as I'm making myself aware of this opportunity, they would probably become much more valuable, wouldn't they?
I think so. I think so. I think also that awareness of time and our limited time slot can put things in perspective. You know, sometimes I see things people are doing. I think, guys, don't you realize we're only just here for a blink of an eye? Why are you being so mean to each other? You know, why are you causing so much trouble when we can't get this time back? And it's the same sometimes with me as well with forgiving people. You know, so people do things, and I think, God, that's a bit crazy, or I'm offended, I think, never mind. You know, they've only got a limited time. They've got limited control over themselves.
But you're an exceptional man, Martin.
I don't know about that, my friend, but I'm doing my
Well, you
best.
took
Yeah.
well, you took a choice in life of searching after an area. I feel that I've come to where you have been a long time and experienced already. I feel I've just come in the last couple of years.
Well, I was intrigued. I was thinking about this the other day. You've got kind of the two sides. You were brought up in the Jewish tradition. That's correct?
Yes, I mean not as a religious Jew, but
But so did you ever go to the
traditional.
synagogue at all or anything like that?
Sorry?
Did you ever have any religious observances? Did you go to the
Yeah,
school?
all of them. The Jewish tradition, the Jewish religion is that most Jews keep their religious festivities as almost historical traditions, biblical traditions.
Hmm.
So they practice them without the religious aspect necessarily. So you do things like the Passover. It's a huge opportunity for the whole family to get together.
Hmm.
The fasting of the week after that, when God takes his judgment on your behavior for the year.
I know the one.
Everybody wants to be judged positively by God, just in case there is one, you know.
Yeah, no, I think it's just in case there is one. I like it. It's interesting. Whenever I hear people about their religious life, so I was brought up, my family as scientists and kind of humanists of anything really. You know, they say the grass is always greener. If I meet someone and they say, "Oh, you know, I was brought up in this Buddhist tradition," I think, "Wow, that must be wonderful, that wisdom and everything." They say they're Hindu. I think, "Oh, great," you know. And it's the vision, of course, I have, you know. So I imagine the opportunity to learn from rabbis and practice the Kabbalah and all that. Of course, the reality is, you know, it's not like that. If you're there, it's your own tradition. You just can't see
The
someone
Jewish
watching.
traditions, the Jewish tradition has got the privilege of having Israel as a nation, that is a Jewish nation, that has adopted much to its non-existent. I don't know if you know, but Israel doesn't have a constitution like
Oh
England.
no, intriguing. Do tell.
Yeah, well, they use it. They use customary and British law, for example, is prevalent in Israel. But all of the religious festivities, all of the religious events have been incorporated into a national holidays. So those who are not religious enjoy them anyway, as well as holidays. So there is a continuity, a connection between the traditional and the religious, which is very good. I mean, the way I think the simplest way of expressing what is religious is that when it's imposed on you, it becomes religious. When
Yeah,
you're
so
allowed
that
to practice it on your own, it's a tradition.
So there's the other side to it all. You know, there's people, you know, I said the grass is always greener. There's people watching this thinking, I'm saying I was brought up in a kind of neutral, there's no religious, there's no philosophy, you just, you know, they're thinking, wow, you could think for yourself. You didn't get forced into all this stuff. You know, everyone's
Yeah,
got
Church of England, are you Catholic?
no, I'm not of any given religion. So yes,
No religion at all.
yeah. So
What
I was
were what were you born into?
nothing. I was
Oh,
born
you mean your
rationalist
parents were, your
scientist.
father was a Buddhist?
No one in my family that I knew of had any spirituality.
And no religion.
No, rationalist scientists. It's what you can see, which is true. Yeah, you know. So that was yeah. So you can yeah. It's a different experience, and you know, still now. I mean, our family tend to have humanist.
But not atheists.
Yeah, no, I think atheist. Yeah.
So atheist is it's as much as practicing a religion to be an atheist.
Yeah, so
You're
I think
practicing non-religion.
yeah, so I think probably the best way to describe most of the Faulks family is so excited and interested in scientific things and botany and biology and things that they're vaguely aware that some people are interested in other things which are, you know, not there, but not interested. Yeah, so normally
You should come from such a family.
yeah, so it's quite interesting, isn't it? So yeah,
Fascinating.
so I'm a very intriguing figure. Now, on my mother's side, I think there's some more spirituality in the sense that perhaps they've got a Christian kind of leaning in there. But my grandmother was a clairvoyant on my mother's
Really?
side. Yeah, she used to sort of be a medium that sort of people would come to in the village, and so yeah, so you've got these kind of different dynamics.
But your grandmother, they didn't have plugs and buttons at that time, did they?
Yeah, what? Sorry.
They didn't have plugs yet but under the table.
No, not yet. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know sort of much about them. Unfortunately, my grandmother on my mother's side, she passed away long before I could know her. She only saw me as a baby, so I don't know much about her as a person. But I hear legends. I hear stories of these amazing things that used to happen at these seances.
What a missed opportunity for you.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe some of her spirit is in me, you know, that we've got these sort of interest in these hidden things and so on.
I have the feeling there is more in you than just your grandmother's clairvoyance.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting thing. So I never people.
Can I tell you what it is that I think most important, impressive from your point of view is in my mind. Maybe I represent quite a lot of people. That you actually practice what you preach. 90% of your cult, let's say your level, are preaching without actually practicing. They don't go. Whereas you go and you learn, you're able to actually communicate with whatever you're trying to learn. And that I think is what makes you credible.
Well, yeah. So this is intriguing for me. It's really intriguing now. We've only got a few. Well, we can talk about this a bit late next time because we're sort of getting to the end of our time. But
yeah,
I'm always intrigued by because for me it's very exciting, very wonderful things. These are great blessings. These disciplines, these training. So I find it confusing, and I think there's some inner barriers that some people have towards them. Look, as you said, a lot of talking, and actually in nature, animals play before they do. And I think you can get stuck in talking, and you can also talk it out. If you've got limited energy, if you talk it out, you probably met some people who talk about painting, but they won't paint ever. Talk about writing. In fact,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Yasha, we're coming to the end of our time, and it's probably good for you to have a bit of a rest. But
I'd like to make just one statement before we finish.
Certainly.
This is the first of the tapes that I've done. I think it's the seventh one. if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The first I've done, where I've been totally in a state of complete confusion and absent-mindedness and not normal. So if we keep this tape till the end, if we show this tape as is without editing much of it, then it shows Parkinson's naturally at its progress.
Yes, and I think the feel you get is that you're doing very well, Yasha, but it's kind of like if someone's sitting in the middle of a storm and they're just focusing, so it's taking a lot of focus just to keep up with what's going on in this middle of this sort of thunder,
Exactly.
yeah, this sort of wind.
And I don't know the consequence of so much concentration. I mean, when we finish, I'm going to my body is very, very tense.
Yes, I understand. I appreciate you because one of the things we do is we book this and we do it no matter what, so people can see.
Well, exactly. That's what I wanted to say, that we have said we would do it, and I'm very pleased to have managed to go through it.
Yeah, and well done getting through, because
thank you.
It did, you know, only because you've said it and subtle hints can we see
Yes.
you've done it. So well done.
Thank you.
So, yes, just to warn you, Yasha, will get cut off in a few seconds. It's, you know, there's a time limit, but I think the time limit's naturally.
Can you give me a call to talk?
Yeah, I'll give you
other things.
yeah, I'll give you a call. Thanks.
Table tennis and stuff.
Yeah. Thanks.